We are live. Hey guys, my name is Devori Darkins, and I wanted to do this off the cuff reaction to this news that I'd already created a video on the 18th, which was 4 days ago, about Joe Biden dropping out of the presidential race. It is now official. He went on X, dropped two posts. One was a letter and one was a follow-up endorsing Kamala Harris for president. And the purpose of the video is not just political conversation, but more of the mindset piece that's going to take place in our country over the next 4 months, and what the media and politicians are going to do to try to control the way that you think. And so that's why I want to do this video today and show you what's going to happen. I'm gonna call it right now what's going to happen and how they're really going to approach this, okay? And I'm just giving you kind of like the bottom line of what will take place, the type of rhetoric you're going to see, and what the media is ultimately going to do. Because they all, and if we just are honest with ourselves, they've been very complicit up to this point about his ability to run for re-election, meaning everyone and their mom for the longest time, they were saying, no, Joe Biden is healthy. Joe Biden is good. Joe Biden can be the president. Joe Biden is sharp as a tack. His mental acuity is on point. And he kept saying, no, I'm running for re-election. I'm not dropping out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And now we're here. And so where we're first going to start are, I would love to start with identifying the lies. And the reason why I want to do that is because I'm telling you, this is what, and I think a lot of people are waking up. And if you're watching this, you might be one of these people, right? You may not be really into politics. You may not care necessarily what side somebody's on. But maybe you're that person that has realized, hey, you know what? The media, it seems like they have really been lying to me completely, right? The president, it seems like they've been lying. Things are not adding up. And one of those primary examples is definitely the economy, right? The economy, you cannot dispute, no matter how many economists that come out and say, no, inflation is down, everything is great, more jobs are being created, et cetera, et cetera. It does not change the fact that how much it costs to get a house, how much rent is, how much electricity is, how much the gas is, and how much the groceries are. And we're not talking about a 10% increase since Biden came in the office. We're talking 30, 40, 50% in some cases of an increase. So having said that, the media and the Democrats for the longest have been pushing this image to the American people that everything is fine. Everything. In fact, this is the best presidency in the history of our country. That's what they would say. That's what they would say. And let's keep it really honest here, right? Let's do devil's advocate, right? Because I want to show you guys how crazy this stuff really is. President Trump, since the moment he's said that, hey, I'm going to run for re-election, right? I'm going to run for president again. He has been saying the same stuff every single time, which is President Biden is the worst president in the history of all presidents. Now, is that a fact? Can we prove that? I'm not too sure, and I support Trump, and I'm not too sure that claim is actually factual. Now, I would argue that President Biden has definitely done a lot of damage because he's allowed radical progressive policies to take place in his administration. He's opened the border like no one ever has in the history of our country. Is that enough to claim him as the worst president? You'd have to argue Jimmy Carter. You'd have to argue, presidents that you probably never heard of, right? Because let's be honest here. None of us were probably alive before, the other presidents that we had, right? It is so long ago. So anyways, what is my point? My point is one side is saying President Biden is the worst president in the history of all presidents, right? And then on the other side, they're saying, no, President Biden is the best president in the history. And he's done more than any other president. So he did more than Barack Obama. He did more than Bill Clinton. right? I mean, do you see how politics, how it happens? Don't ever believe it, because they'll say one thing and do another. And they'll keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden, they say the opposite. Right? And so I was saying this on a video where you're going to have in politics, everybody is a professional exaggerator. So instead of listening to things that are being exaggerated, you don't really have to pay attention to that stuff. Just pay attention to the results. Look in your own life. Look in your community. Look in your bank account. Look at your freedoms. Are they better off than they were under a different administration? Just put all the feelings aside and just look at the facts. Right? And if you look at the facts, you will see that a Biden presidency has not been very friendly to the American people. Now, they're going to come out and they're going to say, well, we passed this law and we did this and we did that. Yeah, but what does that got to do with everyday Americans who are complaining about the price of things? Now, why am I saying all this? Because what you're about to witness with Kamala Harris is the same playbook. They're going to continue to speak to you as if you're stupid, like you don't know that Kamala Harris is just as guilty as President Biden, and the radical, she's actually more progressive than he is. You got to understand, Kamala Harris is literally Gavin Newsom, but in a woman's body. She's from California. And California is the home of progressive policies. Like, it's so bad that in California, the citizens of California do not even have the ability to vote on the laws that Governor Newsom puts in. So Gavin Newsom can just sign a bill like he did last week and say, you know what? It is now a law that schools do not have to notify parents when the child wants to switch up their gender or, their pronouns. There was no vote on that. We were not able to vote, and we are not able to challenge. This is the type of policies that exist in California, and this is where she's coming from. You have to understand, it's not a good look for our country to have someone like her running. Not because of the color of her skin, by the way, because that's what they're going to make it all about, by the way, but because of the radical policies. I was telling somebody this the other day. I said, what's funny is the Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of like 15 years ago. I would encourage you guys to search Joe Biden like 15 years ago. Look up Obama 15 years ago. Look up Bill Clinton. Look up Hillary Clinton. And listen to what they're saying and compare it to what Democrats say today. The Democrat Party has been infected, in a sense, by progressives. Now, if you don't understand what that means, progressives are leading with socialist policies, meaning the government needs to pay for everything. More government control, more government regulation, more restriction. That's what progressives want. This is why progressives are leading the charge on trying to regulate speech. That's what's happening. And of course, you have on the other side conservatives who are like, hey, can't we just keep things the way it is, just common sense? Right? And now more than ever, that's what we need. We need common sense in this country. It seems like common sense has gone out the window. So let's get into a couple of points. I wanted to lay the foundation for what I'm talking about today, and ultimately where this election is going to lead to, and how you need to be in control of this and not allow your friends or your family or the media to tell you what is right and what is wrong, who's a racist, who's not. You need to do your research. Do your research. That's the first thing I want you to do. Just do your research about Kamala Harris. Do your research. Now, research is not going to Wikipedia and reading what Wikipedia says. Research would be if you went to Wikipedia and it says that she passed this law in San Francisco that, would put people behind bars, go read up on stories like that. And you're going to see the contradiction, right? I'll give you a great example. Right now, they're saying Donald Trump wants a national abortion ban, but you cannot find one video of him stating that. So you have to understand the playbook, right? So on the right, the playbook has been President Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. He is destroying our country. He has opened the border. Tens and thousands of illegal migrants are coming over and committing crimes. Now, some of this is exaggerated, right? 100,000 migrants are not coming over and committing crimes. I'm not stupid, okay? I get what he's doing, right? He's trying to get people's attention. He's trying to get a message out there. But that has been the playbook. And now let's look at the playbook on the other side, which is Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He is a racist. He's a neo-Nazi. He wants to implement Project 2025. He wants to ban abortion nationwide. And what I find funny is if he wanted to ban abortion nationwide, wouldn't he just do that? Wouldn't he had supported a bill that said, hey, federally, we want to ban all abortion, right? So he did what first? First, what he did was he put the Supreme Justices in the Supreme Court. They repealed the law that basically said federally people are allowed to get abortion, right? So that's federal, meaning the government is regulating abortion. And by repealing it, the federal government takes its hands out of abortion and puts it in the hands of the state, which means what? It's closer to the hands of the people, right? So, for example, if you're in California, you absolutely have more control over your abortion rights because Gavin Newsom will sign whatever bill you want him to sign in support of abortion. But if you're in Arkansas, the culture over there, the paradigm over there, they don't believe in that. So each state gets to create its own laws based its own culture and belief system. So in my opinion, that's actually a healthy compromise. Now, but having said all that, in the on the left, what they're saying is, well, Donald Trump wants a national abortion ban. Okay. Right. And if he wanted that, wouldn't he not had kicked it back to the states? He would have actually tried to pass a law that says federally you are not allowed to get an abortion. This is just like marijuana, right? I served in the military. You cannot get caught with marijuana in your system. But in California, you can smoke all the marijuana you want, right? So state, federal, right? So, people, they have to critically think and discern from what is fact and what is a feeling. Emotionally, the playbook of Democrats is Donald Trump wants to take away women's rights. Okay. He wants to implement Project 2025. He wants to be a dictator. This is what they're going to say. He is a racist. They're going to use this a lot. But they can't show you a video of him being racist. They can't show you a video of him clearly stating, I want to pass a national abortion ban. That doesn't exist. But they're going to keep talking to you like it is the truth. And so that's why I was doing this video as an initial reaction, because this is where we are today, where Kamala Harris has been endorsed for president. And so let's actually just take a look at what he said, and we will go from there, where he actually endorses her. Let's see here. Let's bring you up. Let's do this first. Hold on. Oh, sorry, guys. There we go. That looks better. All right. So here it is. He writes the letter. He didn't write it. Someone wrote it for him, of course. And he starts off by stating his accomplishments. So we made historic investments in rebuilding our nation and lowering prescription drug costs for seniors and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. Let's just stop here. The affordable health care to a record number of Americans. Okay? All you need to do is just a little research. Okay? If you were to just go to Google and type in Affordable Health Care Act cost by year. Okay? And let's see here. ACA, let's try this first link, for example. Let's see if it shows it to us. There we go. This is exactly what I want to show you. Okay? It's just been going up and up and up and up and up. Right? And so you could do your own research. This probably isn't the best website. I mean, I don't know who these people are. Right? But it doesn't take much because the news, the media, they're so lazy. Today, they just hit you with the headline. They hit you with an opinion piece. They don't provide any data, citations, or studies to prove what they are really saying. Okay? Sometimes they even use language like, yeah, a new poll came out today. Where's that poll at? Show me. Why don't you put the link in the, somewhere for us to click on your website, right? That doesn't happen. All right, let's keep going. So the first sentence is already false. We provided critically needed care to a million veterans exposed to toxic substances. Okay, that I could say, because I am a veteran, I could say that is true. But here's the thing. It's always been true. I could always go get care for toxic substances. When he's saying toxic substances, he's talking about like when you're in the military and you went overseas, one of the worst things that we were doing is we would have burn pits, meaning we would take paper, we would take equipment, we would take whatever we wanted to destroy, and we'd put it in a pile and we set it on fire because there was no such thing as returning it back to America. So in some cases, there was toxic stuff in there, right? And so that has impacted veterans and their health. So you could always go to the VA for that. The difference today, though, is that you can now claim it as a disability. So it has been brought up to the priority list of things that you can claim on your disability. Now, in order to get the disability approved in the first place, is still like pulling teeth. I was telling this to my aunt the other day. If I was an illegal immigrant or I was homeless in San Francisco, I could get benefits like that. I could get paid every month like that. But if I'm a veteran and I'm deployed to Afghanistan and I have PTSD and I have issues that I deal with from time to time and I'm trying to get some type of compensation for that, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. And you will face rejection. And I remember the first time I put in a claim, automatic denial. My word doesn't count. They need all these doctors. They need all these witnesses. They want you to do all this extra stuff. And I'm only saying that not for you guys to feel bad for veterans. I'm saying it because it's the hypocrisy of the government, right? The hypocrisy of the government is we'll open the border and we'll let everybody come in and we will give them benefits. But when it comes to our own veterans, we won't do that. And I don't understand why we can't just do both, right? I'm willing to meet people halfway. Why can't we just do both? Just pay the veterans, man. Just give them what they're asking for. But I digress. So anyways, you could kind of say that is true. All right. Passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. I'm sure that is false. But listen, let's do our research, right? Gun safety law. What is it? Let me see here. Actually, let me do it like this. Laws that have been passed. All right, let's see here. So, sorry, guys. My son, he's breaking down right now. Let's see here. All right. Let's keep going here. Okay, let's read this one. Biden signs gun safety bill into law. While this bill doesn't do everything I want, it does include actions I've long called for that are going to save lives. Today we say more than enough. We say more than enough. Let's see here. Includes incentives for state to pass so-called red flag laws that allow groups to petition courts to remove weapons from people deemed a threat to themselves or others. Okay, so I wouldn't actually say this is the safest gun law passed, right? I wouldn't say that whatsoever. You can argue, like in California, one thing that they've done is you can't you can't roll up to a gun shop and get multiple firearms. It doesn't work that way. You can only get one firearm every 30 days. One, not two, not three. No, you can only get one. So, I mean, you could argue that's probably, listen, gun control laws don't work because you're targeting people who follow the law. You're not targeting people who don't follow the law, right? Illegal, the people who are who are criminals and who have guns illegally, none of these laws are doing anything about them. That's what I'm saying. Politics is most of it is just rhetoric that isn't really supported by facts. Anyway, so passed the first gun safety law in 30 years. That's a lie. Appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court. That is true. And passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. What that climate laws are, I'm not really familiar with it. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't follow climate change like that. And I'm in the camp where I really don't believe the fear mongering around climate change, because if they lie about everything else, what makes you believe they're telling the truth when it comes to climate change? And I actually like listening to people who are not part of the government on climate change, like an Elon Musk, for example. He has no incentive to lie about it. So I'd lean towards his mindset around it versus these politicians. Okay, so let's see here. I know none of us could have done this without you, the American people. Together, we overcome a once-in-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. The worst economic crisis was back in 2009, but okay, whatever. And we protected and preserved our democracy. That's funny because they forced you out, right? This guy is not dropping out of the race because he wants to. He's dropping out of the race because the Democrats, the people at the top, told him and forced his hand, right? They keep leaking all these stories. They started pushing for more Democrats to come out publicly. They've done everything they can to truly get him out of the race without holding an official press conference and saying, Joe Biden, please drop out of the race. Now, if you guys want to see something funny, let me see if I could show you guys this. It's called Pass the Torch. So there was this ad that, let's see here. See if I could show you guys the video. Here it is. Let's see if they give me the link. So there was this ad that Democrats start running against the president. Their own person, by the way. Their own person. You just can't make this stuff up. Let's see if it's on YouTube. Let's search it right there. Pass the torch. ad. Let's see here. All right, I'm not going to waste your guys' time searching for it. But as you can see, let's actually check this out. It's probably a good one to watch.
38 congressional Democrats have now publicly called on Biden to step aside. For now, the president is in Delaware recovering from COVID. Now, dozens of people gathered outside the White House earlier today, urging the president to step down and, quote, pass the torch. 7 News reporter Rebecca Turco tells us why they feel it's the best move for the country.
Torch! Pass the torch! Pass the torch!
Cries for change outside the White House. Around 100 people rallied together, urging President Biden to leave the ticket.
Tired of having people that don't represent me or the majority of Americans in the office.
People like Cassandra Yoakum feel it's time for the president to usher in a new generation of leaders.
He's lost us so many things. I have a niece who has less rights than I had. I have seen just absolute weakness in the office, and especially against Trump.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Thank you, Joe. It's time to go.
Organizers say Biden's panned performance in the first presidential debate was a turning point.
I think Biden's been a good president. I think he's accomplished a lot policy-wise.
But tell me what he's accomplished, please. You know, it's funny. So, yeah, there's that. His own party basically staged a coup and got him out of there. That's exactly what happened. This is not a decision that he wanted to make. If he had it his way, he'd be running, because he's the only person who believes that he could beat Trump, because he's done it already. And why is this important, or why does this matter? Because they're going to keep lying to your face about everything. And we need to think for ourselves. Okay. So anyways, that is the letter. And then, of course, he comes out and he puts up this post like 5 minutes after that. And he puts, hey, my fellow Democrats have decided not to accept the nomination. Now he's addressing his party and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Before I keep reading, if you're not going to run for re-election, why are you still the president? Just resign. Think about that. If you can't even be the president for the next 4 years, you can't be the president right now. This isn't even a political thing. This is a national security. This is a health of someone who's old. The most respected thing he could have done is resigned and had her just take over as the president so she could show that she could be president and run a campaign. But hey, that's just my opinion. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my VP, and it has been the best decision I made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. And that right there is very telling for me. Very telling for me. President Trump always ends his statements to his supporters with, let's make America great again. Let's make this country great again. Let's do this for our country. Let's make your life better. The Democrats' message always ends the same. Let's beat Trump. See, they're so focused on beating Trump, they've neglected their duties to you and me. How do we know this to be true? Quality of life. The cost of everything. Now, some people will argue, well, you have to understand, COVID did all that. Okay, let's say I agree with you. Let's run with that. What's your excuse about the 13 Marines who lost their life in Afghanistan? What about that? What about the Afghanistan withdrawal? Why was nobody fired then? If I was still in the military and we did something like that and I was the commander, I'd be done. I'd be out. They would transfer me out. There's no question about it. What about Russia invading Ukraine? What about Hamas and Israel? What about Iran? Right now, these things aren't really impacting our everyday lives, of course, right? So I don't really spend time thinking about them that much. But what does give me cause to pause is when they get on TV and they keep telling me that President Trump is a threat to democracy, but the math is not adding up. Because when he was the president, it doesn't matter if you don't support him or not. The fact of the matter is his administration made sure prices did not go up. His administration made sure that there was no wars. Now, why was that a thing? It's a thing because other countries fear Donald Trump. That's why. Other countries look at him and they say, yeah, we probably don't want to do that right now. Let's wait until he gets out of office. And so if we're talking about from a leadership standpoint on the national or on the international stage, who would you rather want going head to head with Putin? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? Would you want a monster going against Putin, or would you want someone who will probably get destroyed by him? Like, that's just, we are who we are, right? Kamala Harris is who she is. Donald Trump is who he is. I know who he is. And I know at the end of the day, if it's us versus Russia or us versus Hamas or us versus Iran, I know he ain't going to play no games. And how do I know that? Because I have results to look at that, right? I can look at his administration and see that other world leaders, he has an element to him where they are scared. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. We want someone who projects that, not someone who's going to get ran over and isn't going to be taken seriously. Putin from Russia is not going to take Kamala Harris seriously. Let's just keep it real. That's just facts. It has nothing really to do with her. It does not make her less of a person or because she's a woman. It's Putin. This guy, you want to talk about someone who is a fierce, advanced tyrant, that's him. Right? I mean, think about it from this point of view. There are just people in this world where showing up to a fight with the Bible just is not going to work. Putin is one of those people. The president of North Korea is one of those people. Right? The new leader of Iran is one of those people. Hamas they don't do any negotiations. They have one purpose in life, which is to destroy any type of country or culture that they do not agree with, especially Israel. She's not going to have any success doing anything about them. And we know that to be true because it's been happening on her watch. She's right there with President Biden. It's her record too. So, what the media is going to do though, is they're going to switch up and they're going to say, oh yeah, she's great. She's part of this administration that has done more for Americans than any other. Isn't it funny how they say words like that? This has been the best administration forever, since the history of all presidents. I mean, come on, people. I mean, it just is not true whatsoever. Let's see what she ended up saying in response to this announcement. Let's see here. Let's see here, Vice President. Looks like she has not posted anything yet, but she will. I'm sure of it. And I'm sure that she will. Now, let's cover another thing, right? So we already talked about the fact that they are saying that President Trump wants a national abortion ban. I've already covered that. That is false. Okay. The next one, which I will concede on, is I am not in the camp that believes hundreds and thousands of immigrants are pouring into our country and committing crimes. I don't believe that. But what I do believe, though, is where what has been forecasted and budgeted from a financial standpoint for this country all the way from the federal level down to the state level, has absolutely been exceeded because of illegal immigrants coming into this country, right? Because where else are they getting the money to pay these benefits out, right? Where else are they getting this money? So I don't even care that that's not 110% true. What is 110% true is how many people have been coming across the border. So let's actually look at the immigration stats, which is available for anybody to actually look up, and you could see what's going on here. So let's see here if they give us, I want to see year by year. Let's see if they do it on the Homeland Security website. Because, you know, they try to make it sometimes hard for you to see this. There we go. And let's see. Probably should have this pulled up before I did all this, huh? Let's see. How about this? Let's go to immigration statistics by year. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. All right, there we go. That's all we need to look at. Look at this. Number of immigrants, 46 million. 46 million. And they now make up about 14% of the population, which isn't really, I mean, I don't have a problem against immigrants. Let me just say that, people. I really don't. That's not my concern. My concern is the lies they keep telling us as if it's not a problem, because clearly it is. Let's see here. There's another one I saw the other day. Let's see. I'm really unprepared right now. Usually, here we go. It's called like not refugees or asylum seekers. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Apprehensions. This is really good. This is what I was looking for. That's exactly what I was looking for. Apprehensions being these are people who they're violent or they don't pass the asylum test, and Border Patrol is like, you're out of here, right? And so as you could see during President Trump's administration, if you start in 2016, 415,000, 2017, 310,000, which is what? The lowest. Okay, the only closest one was when Obama was the president, by the way, Democrat. You know what's funny is Obama's immigration policy is the exact same as Trump's immigration policy. It's pretty crazy as far as the general concept. Anyway, so 2015 or 2016, 415,000, 2017, 310,000, 2018, 404,000. Then it jumps up 2019, 859,000. Then it goes down during COVID, 405. So then obviously Biden becomes president. And in 1 year so you can't say, oh, well, it's because of COVID why people are not coming, because the very next year, 2021, that was still COVID, 1.6 million people. Then the following year, 2.2 million. And then 2023, 2 million. Right? So, let's see here. What is this? Apprehensions 2024? 2024 Border Patrol. Let's see here. Let's see if they give us the number where we're at so far this year. I don't want to read all that. Here we go. Nationwide encounters. Let's go here. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is what we were looking for. So this was, I think the last report was in May of this year. And it looks like it's about what? Maybe half of where it was last year. So what is the point? What is the point that I'm making? I'm making the point that the Democrats are going to keep lying about illegal immigration. They're going to keep saying it's not really a problem. The classic one is, oh, it's always been a problem for both administrations. Okay. Got it. Which is not true. So remember, these guys, let me go full screen here. President Biden absolutely repealed everything that the Trump administration had on the border. And as a result, we had millions of people that came into our country. It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. It is a fact that it happened. There's no lying about that. And so what they're going to try to do moving forward is frame it as President Trump believes that illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our country. Okay. And so that's the next thing I want to cover, because this is another talking point that the media and the Democrats are going to try to use to convince you that that, you know, Trump is racist and, you know, he is a problem to our country. And so in the context of what he was saying, just so everybody understands, what he meant was, obviously, if you have, let's say you have 10 million migrants that cross the border, clearly a certain percentage of those migrants are going to commit crimes, right? And they're not going to live or believe or do things that is in alignment with our culture, our society as a country. But that's not the way that the media takes it. They take it as him being racist, right? That's what they say. They say, oh, well, that means he's Adolf Hitler. That's what they go to. That's what they end up saying. So anyways, that is another talking point they'll probably bring up. Let's see, what's another one they'll probably try to throw at you? They're going to try to throw the Project 2025 at you. This is a big one. This is actually what they're doing now. They're calling it Trump's Project 2025. Even though there's never been any official endorsement of Project 2025 from President Trump, they're still going to make you believe that it's a problem. Now, because I'm a guy that thinks for himself, you know what I did? I just go to the website. I go over to the website, right? And I read it for myself. I went on to the website. Now, one would think, without doing any research, the impression you're getting is, oh, so if a conservative becomes the president, then this must mean these are the this is the policies that he wants to implement. You know, these are the policies that he wants to enforce during his administration, right? You would, you know, without doing any research, you would probably believe that. But after doing careful research, you start to realize that actually is not necessarily true. Because the people who created this is their own way of implementing something. And they're not the only people to create something like this for both sides. There are people who have progressive programs or projects that they want implemented, but it's not going to see the light of day because the media is not going to bring it up and the politicians are not going to bring it up. And so that's how it is working. Let me take a look at something really briefly. Let me catch up on some comments before I continue here. Let's see here. Cameron says the Democrats has brainwashed a lot of people. I absolutely believe so. Galaxy Beaver says paying $150 for electricity. Now I'm paying $350. Yep, I know what you mean. What's the issue? Yeah, there's no issue in letting immigrants in. The issue is when you allow them to come in here illegally. It's like, for example, let's say that you and your family bought 100 acres of land, right? And your uncle, your aunt, your grandparents, your sister, your brother, they all have their houses, they all have their own homes inside this 100-acre ranch, right? And there's a fence all around it. And let's say your uncle one day says, you know what? There are people who want to live in our ranch because the other ranches out there are poor quality and they don't have the same policies we do. And when you live in our own ranch with our own family, you know, life is great. We do things, we believe in freedoms, right? We believe in allowing people to thrive here. And so you guys don't mind having people move onto your ranch. But what you guys do end up saying when you guys sit down as a family, you say, well, there has to be a process, right? There has to be a process, right? There has to be some type of, we have to vet people. We're not just going to let anybody just move into our ranch, right? Aren't they supposed to submit an application? Shouldn't we be doing background checks on them? Shouldn't we be figuring out where they came from, right? Or are you the person that believes, just open the gate and just let them come on in and they can live anywhere they want within our 100-acre land. We don't care who they are. Let's just let them all come in. This is what's happening. So the problem isn't that illegal immigrants are, the problem is not immigrants coming to the country. The problem is the immigrants who do it illegally, meaning they abuse the asylum process. Meaning they just say, oh, I'm seeking asylum, even though there's no supporting data on why they should get one in the first place. And two, the more people that keep crossing the border, the drugs go up, right? The crime goes up because of the drugs. More overdoses are going up, okay? And sex trafficking, right? Child and adult goes up. Because too many people are crossing the border. There's no way they can prevent a lot of this stuff from happening. You have to, both things exist at the same time, right? There are people who legitimately are trying to get into this country. And at the same time, you have someone who's the polar opposite. They're not trying to get into this country in a legal way. They're trying to do whatever they can. They want to sell drugs. They want to traffic people. They want to do whatever. They want to commit crimes. That is true. That's why I just think that the media and the Democrats, they get caught in their feelings. Why would you say something like that about don't even call them illegal immigrants. They are illegal immigrants. What are you talking about? They're not coming over here legally. That's not happening. So anyways, hopefully that answered the question. And no, they don't pay any taxes. Right? Like I said, I'm a veteran. I don't get any, they're getting more benefits than I am right now. Right? I have to jump through way more hoops than they do. So, you know, the issue is not that we shouldn't allow immigrants to come to our country. The issue is there needs to be law and order at the border. We just can't have people pouring in, right? And that's what's been happening. Now, let's go back to this whole scare tactic that the media is going to do. They are going to push this whole Project 2025 down your throat. That's exactly what's going to happen. They are going to push this down your throat, and they're going to say, this is Donald Trump's policy. This is exactly what he wants to do. Now, let's keep it real, because this is what I'm always going to do. Let's keep it real. Are there policies and ideas in Project 2025 that are actually good? Yes. Is Project 2025, and let me say it this way, are there other policies in Project 2025 that are extreme and not good? Yes, that is true. So both things are true at the same time. There are things in this that if you were to read it yourself, you'd be like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea. Why don't we try that? And then there are other stuff in there where you're like, I don't think we should be doing all that. But that's not what they're going to come out and say. And when you'll hear President Trump or you'll hear some other people on the right who will say what I just said, and the translation with the media is, oh, then that means they support Project 2025. No, I didn't say that. What I said was there are policies in there that would actually benefit everyday Americans. That is true. And then there are policies in there that will not. They're too extreme. So if there's extreme policies within this entire Project 2025, the whole damn thing is extreme, is not good. And that's what President Trump is saying. But the media is not going to do that. They're going to cram this down your throat. They're going to say, this is what President Trump is going to do when he gets into office. Even though, and this is a theory of mine, before we even look at it, this is a theory of mine. I do believe this. President Trump is probably, if we want to put labels on him, he's probably the most moderate conservative there is. How do we know this to be true? Because he does not support an abortion ban whatsoever. He doesn't. One of the principles of a person being conservative historically is abortion is 100% illegal. So this isn't necessarily 100% conservative values going into the White House when President Trump wins the election. This is a moderate approach. He's more moderate, but the media doesn't tell you this. So you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't think of him that way because that's not the image that has been put out there by the media. And it's not just the media, it's Hollywood too. Right? Hollywood, these celebrities, these athletes, they're all like, it's not like they all get into some room and they decide they're all going to say this. I just think it's just a lack of mindset. I don't think celebrities truly have the time to really look into things because they're too busy doing what they were put on this earth to do. Athletes, I don't think they really have time to really research this stuff. They're doing what they're put on this planet to do. And so majority of the media, these news outlets, they're all left-leaning. So there's always inherent bias. It didn't matter if Trump was running for president or not. They would have been biased against someone else. It doesn't matter. For the first time ever, since I've been covering this stuff, you saw a little glimpse of what being neutral when it comes to a subject that the news has showed us, and that was with the presidential debate with President Biden and President Trump. That was the first time the media ever reacted to something and they started to hold the other side accountable. Because for the longest, it's always been MAGA people are extremists. Donald Trump is the next Hitler. The Republicans are ruining this country. But the Republicans are not in charge. The Democrats are. So anyways, I digress. Let's see here. Go back to the comments. Don't have to pay. Okay, I see. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. There's no... I don't know what word that was. They can't get healthcare. They can't get a driver's license. So many more reasons they can't vote. Or more recently, they probably can. Yeah, so this is the other thing that's taking place. And before I get into this, listen, if any of you guys have ever owned a business, you would probably be able to understand this analogy very clearly. Or think of it in a place where you work. if the amount of customers you were getting tripled overnight, quadruple, 10x overnight, what do you think is going to happen to your business or your job where you work? You guys are going to break in half. All those policies, all those procedures go out the window. There's no way because the way everything is right now is structured based on the current population of America, not on the millions of migrants that have been coming over the border. So now that you have all these millions of illegal immigrants coming over the border, it's breaking the system. Border Patrol is not prepared for that. Cities are not ready for that. Just look at Chicago. The mayor over there, oh, he's catching so much heat over this. He's catching so much heat because they are diverting funds to migrants and not to the local communities that was promised for them. Same thing with Mayor Adams in New York. Guy was on heat for basically the program was we're going to create this debit card and we're going to put $1,000 on it and we're going to give it to every migrant in New York, right? And the question was, well, where's all the money coming from? And then the other question is, what about all this crime that's taking place? Right? So, I mean, this is what I'm saying is it's never going to be perfect, right? Our country is not going to be perfect, okay? There's going to be policies that have great intentions, bad outcomes, and it just doesn't work. But I want to at least touch on this because it's very important. So this whole Project 2025 is going to be crammed down your guys' throat. They're going to say this is his policy. But if you were to just read this yourself, which it's all here on their website, if you click on policy and then you just read the mandate, or you could click on each section. So, let's say if we go to Department of Education is one, right? So they say, oh, they're going to dismantle the Department of Education. Okay. Let's first start with that point. What's worse, the current education system the way it is today, or the idea that it will be dismantled and we'll put a new one in that has been reformed? So people, it's all scare tactics at the end of the day. These are their core principles: advancing education freedom. Empowering families to choose among a diverse set of education options is key to reform and improved outcomes. Sorry, guys. My son, he's just going crazy today. Sorry. Let's see here. It could be achieved without establishing a new federal program. For example, portability of existing federal education spending to fund families directly, or allowing federal tax credits to encourage voluntary contributions to K through 12 education savings accounts managed by charitable nonprofits could significantly advance education choice. What does this really mean? All it really means is they want parents to be more empowered to put their kids in schools that they really want, not what the federal government says they should do. Let's see here. Restoring state and local control over education funding. This is really good, I believe. I don't see a problem with that. Treating taxpayers like investors in federal student aid. Taxpayers should expect their investments in higher education to generate economic productivity. When the federal government lends money to individuals for a post-secondary education, taxpayers should expect those borrowers to repay. This is speaking to student loans for sure. That's exactly what that is. So they're still a supporter of it. They do not want to see student loans canceled. They don't want to see student loans, must end abuses in the loan forgiveness programs. I don't really think there's any abuse. I think President Biden was actually abusing it, if anything. Let's see here. Here's one. Enforcement of civil rights should be based on a proper understanding of those laws, rejecting gender ideology and critical race theory. That's probably a controversial one. Okay. Now, listen, if this was me, these probably would not be my top priorities. My top priorities would definitely be financial literacy, mindset, teaching kids how to do farming, teaching kids how to work with their hands, right? How to build things, because those are skills and trades that will never be replaced by AI. An AI is not going to replace a plumber. AI is not going to replace an electrician. Okay? It's just not going to happen. So AI is not going to replace mindset. It's not going to replace financial literacy. Those are skills that should actually be at the forefront of our education. And so, you know, reading this, I'm not really too jazzed about any of this, honestly. I mean, I would probably, you know, I'd probably look at things a little differently. And so this is an example. What I'm saying is I'm not for this. Yeah, they're bringing up the reading, which is obvious. So anyways, there's that, right? And so I would just take the time and I would just, you know, whenever you hear something about Project 2025 and them saying they want to, Trump wants this, Trump wants that, or this is Trump's project, it's not. Right? So he has his own thing called Agenda 47. You can go read that up yourself as well. So anyways, I digress on that stuff. We can spend all day on that. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. So the Project 2025, that they're going to cram down their throats. Now let's talk about DEI, right? Because this is another thing they're going to push down our throats again. And it's absolutely blown up in everybody's face right now. Let's just say that. So an example of this was when we all saw Trump and someone tried to take him out. The failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump, right? We all saw that. And what does that have to do with DEI? What does it have to do? What does it have to do with DEI? It has everything to do with it. And I'm going to show you guys right now. First, I'm going to bring up the actual clip that shows Donald Trump escaping. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go here.
If you
Let's go here.
want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
All right. Let's see here. Obviously, let's fast forward. Now, check this out. Remember, I'm going to show this video and then I'm going to make my point. My point is about DEI and why it does not belong in the Secret Service. I'm going to show you guys why right now.
Shooters down. Are we good to move? We're clear. Let's move. We're clear. Come on. Let me get my shoes.
All right, it's coming. Hold on.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold on, your head is bloody.
All right, let's just pause it right here. Let's pause it. This is a great angle, by the way. Okay. How many people on this stage is taller than President Trump? She definitely is not. Over here on the left. What can she possibly do? She cannot do anything to protect this guy. Not from a sniper. Neither, and this lady over here can't either. This is not trying to put down women, by the way. The Secret Service is the whole purpose is security, which requires physical attributes. You know where else in our society where DEI is not a thing? Sports. If you're 5'10", you're 5'10". There's no change in that. And if you're going into the NBA, we'd rather you be 6'4" than 5'10". You know why? Because everybody is 6'4". Does that mean we are discriminating against someone who's 5'10"? Not necessarily. It just means the likelihood of someone being that short and being successful, it's just not as likely as someone being 6'4". And when you're talking about the life or death of protecting someone, it would probably make sense that if you're going to take a bullet for them, that you would be taller and possibly bigger than they are. Right? Let's keep going.
So we gotta move to the bus. Watch out.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What? She can't protect him. I mean, now this guy on the right can, because he's just as tall as him, if not taller. This guy too. But look, she looks lost. She does not know what she's doing over here on the left. Okay. Now let's fast forward here. All right. Now look, you see how tall this guy is? So he's able to cover the president, right? But she can't, right? Let's keep going. You see that? So this guy's tall, this guy's tall, this guy's tall. She is not. Look at this. Look at this. So these guys, right? They're now obviously he's standing up, it looks like. So, you know, so if someone was going to get another shot off, they could probably get him. But if he was just to stand on the ground, these men right here would be taller than him and he would be covered. But these women would not be able to cover him. Right? So, you know, listen, this is what's going on, okay? This is, now I'm ready to make my point, okay? The media is going to try to push DEI down our throats for the president of the United States, okay? That's exactly what they're going to try to do. And the problem for the black community is this actually makes us look bad. The problem for women, it makes them look bad. Why would you put those women in that position? Now they look bad. They actually might be very competent at what they do. They're just not physically, right, the way that we would need them to be to protect the president when there's a current assassination attempt against them outside. Right now, let's say those women were on the outside perimeter somewhere. That would make sense. But these people are next to him, right? They're supposed to be the people who are going to take a bullet for him. Why would you have people that height trying to protect him? You know why? Because the Secret Service director had a goal to diversify the workforce. And I think the percentage was 30% needed to be women or something like that. Let's see if I can actually find this official statement. Where she's calling for more women to be in the Secret Service. Let's see here. Oh, we can actually take a look at their brochure. Let's see if it tells us. Let's see here. I don't want to get into all that. Okay, here we go. Actually, I'm going to show you guys this because I majored in marketing. I already know what they're doing. Notice the skin color and the gender that represents most of this brochure. The front page, black guy, woman, another woman, another woman. Okay, we got a couple of dudes here. The director is a woman. The COO is a woman. Oh, woman on this page. And she's black. Another woman. Another black dude. Another woman. Oh, another one. Another black dude. Another woman. Do you guys see this? I mean, It's either a woman or a black dude in this brochure. They have minimized what the Secret Service actually looks like, which is probably majority white men, by the way. Which I don't really care. All I care about is can they do their freaking job. Let's keep going. Woman. Finally have a dude. Okay, a dude. All right, cool. There we go. Now we're seeing them. So, you have to really get into the brochure to, okay, here's women again. Okay. Another black dude or person of color, as they would call them. Another black woman. There we go. Another black dude. Asian. Black dude. I mean, is there really that amount of black people in the Secret Service? I don't believe so. So, yeah, I think I'm beating a dead horse. I think you guys get what I'm saying, right? So, this is what they're going to do, okay? And they've already been doing it. But the problem is it backfires every single time because it's coming from a place of insecurity, lack, and it just doesn't work because the energy is off. So they have these quotas, which I want to see if I can find where it was like an interview that she did. Stating that she wanted to create the Secret Service this way. Let's see here. I don't think I'm going to waste my time looking for it. But I will tell you guys this. That's exactly what they're going to end up doing. But let's bring up this story because I think this is funny too. This is where we're at in our country. So the Secret Service is defending its female agents following attacks from conservative pundits and lawmakers who have suggested without evidence that the agents are underqualified and were only hired because of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. They were hired for that. They were hired. You guys just saw the brochure. That's why they were hired. They were not hired because they're looking for the best candidate to protect a president. They were hired because they're promoting DEI policies. There's a difference. So they came back and said, as an elite law enforcement agency, all of our agents and officers are highly trained and fully capable of performing our missions. It is an insult to the women of our agency to imply that they are unqualified based on gender. Such baseless assertions undermine the professionalism, dedication, and expertise of our workforce. We stand united against any attempt to discredit our personnel and their invaluable contributions to our mission. Well, it's hard to say that when you fail to protect a former president of the United States. Right? These people are not evil, by the way, these Secret Service agents. I'm sure they're hardworking people. It's the leadership that is very political and evil, and that's why they were in that position when they should have never been in that position to begin with, right? You should have never had those women out there like that. That is probably the riskiest way to do a rally, which is outside. So if you already know it's high risk, and it was already reported that Iran had already tried to assassinate Donald Trump on multiple occasions, but was never successful. And you already know the threat has increased around him. Why would you put someone like that? Right? Like if we remove all emotion to the side and we just think logic, wouldn't you find people who are 6'10", big, trained in tactics, probably former special ops or whatever, to do all that? Private security experience probably. But, I'm not in the Secret Service, so, this is just my opinion. What do I know? But hey, I would think that's what common sense would tell us all. I mean, even if you thought of yourself, I'm sure you would want someone physically that could take a bullet for you, not someone who's shorter than you, smaller than you, going to take a bullet, right? Just saying. That doesn't mean they can't serve in the Secret Service. because Secret Service has multiple, areas of operations. I mean, one part of it is protecting presidents, but there's other things that they do. And this goes back to my time in the military. When I was in the military, in the very beginning, women were not allowed to serve in the infantry. And it wasn't until like halfway through my military career that they changed it and they started allowing women to be in infantry. And it wasn't like there was a rush of women looking to get into there, because it wasn't. I mean, every now and then you probably saw one female. And matter of fact, she wasn't even infantry. She just worked in an infantry unit. She was assigned to an infantry unit, but in an admin position. Before, that didn't exist at all. It was just strictly male. So, you don't hear women signing up to be special ops, to sign up to be Navy SEALs, signing up to be Green Beret, Delta Force. That doesn't make any sense, right? But our country, for some reason, has this obsession of thinking that women want to be placed in these positions when they really don't. And so I was doing this live because I wanted to cover quite a few topics where the media, because Kamala Harris is now going to be running for president, these are the talking points they're going to use. First, they're going to say she's our first black running our first black woman running for president. Okay. And just to, keep it real with you guys, just so everybody knows. Okay. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but I believe she's half Jamaican and something. So I'm not too sure I would classify her as black. That's just my personal opinion. So they have it here on her bio. She is the first African American and first Asian American vice president. Let's look at that really quick. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? The first African American and Asian American. How can you be? I don't think you could be both. Right? I think you're either biracial, or you're Asian, or you're black, right? I'm just saying. Let's go here. Let's see here. Here we go. Let's see here. I'm trying to find her parents. Let's see if it tells us this. I don't really like looking at Wikipedia, but here it is. I skipped it. All right, so she's born in Oakland. Her mother, which I can't even pronounce that, but her mother was a biomedical scientist. I have no idea what any of that means. Oh, here we go. She moved to the United States from India. So her mom is Indian. Her mom is from India. I'm not doing this to say that there's something wrong with Kamala Harris or her family. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm giving you what the facts are. So when you hear what the media is going to tell you, you already know they're lying. Right? So she's straight up from India. Okay? Born in India. This is her mom right here. All right? So there's no disputing that her mom is Indian. All right? So that's number one. Okay? Let's go back here. So that's her mom. And her dad is from, let's see, Jamaican American. Father, Donald J. Harris, is Afro-Jamaican. Let's click on him. And let's see here. He was born in Jamaica. Okay, perfect. So here we go. So she is half Indian and half Jamaican. But what they're going to tell you is, oh yeah, she's the first. That doesn't even make sense. How is she Asian then? But whatever. how? So she's the first black woman running for president. That's what they're going to say. Okay, that's what they're going to tell you. She's the first African American and first Asian American vice president. Okay, whatever. Right, and this is what they do. They use the skin color of someone. They use the identity of someone to try to push people to support them because of that skin color. I don't care what someone's skin color is. I care about, are they going to represent this country in a way where other countries are going to respect us and not try any slick stuff? Right? Do you think she's going to have any success against Vladimir Putin? Absolutely not. You think people from Iran will respect her? You already know what the Middle East culture is around women. They don't look at women like that. Right? So, I mean, let's call it what it is. But listen, I'm only doing this because I'm telling you guys this is what they are going to do. They're going to make this election now against Kamala Harris and Donald Trump about race. I'm calling it right now. They're going to make it about her skin color. They're going to make it about the fact that she's a woman. And they're not going to make it about the policies that exist. Okay? The policies that she has, it's very radical. Like I said, she is basically Gavin Newsom, but a woman version. By the way, she worked for Gavin Newsom when he was the mayor of San Francisco. So, you know, I guess take that for whatever it's worth. But, you know, it is what it is. And so that's what's exactly going to happen. So what should you do? What you should do is do what I just did over the last 30, 45 minutes, is just do your own research. If you plan on participating in the election, which you don't have to, but if you plan to, just do your own research. And do research based on policies, not based on feelings, right? And you'll find if you do research, like for example, if you do research on Kamala Harris, she was the Attorney General of California. She's one of the reasons why California has a crime problem. Okay? She is behind that. So, do you want her to still soften crime as the president? I'm sure you would not want that. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say about all this. I think we went long enough. Yeah, I mean, they got their success as far as the Democrat Party. They got to push out President Biden. They got him out of there. He didn't want to get out of there, but they got him out of there. Now Kamala Harris is going to be the person that's going to be running. And this leads us to the very last thing, and then we're going to wrap up, is what options are available to be the vice president for Kamala Harris, meaning who can she choose from to run with her, right? Let's see here. Running mates. You have, obviously, Gavin Newsom, which is what I call him. He's definitely an option. Let's keep reading and see what else they say here. Let's see what they got. They got Governor Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. I don't know too much about him. Never really heard of him. But yeah, he is an option. Let's see here. Who else we got? North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper. Probably not going to happen. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Might happen. She's a female governor for Michigan. The only problem there is that Michigan holds the most Muslim people, or people from the Middle East. I didn't even know that until I got into politics, that they have the largest Muslim population in America. And that population is not voting for Biden. So I don't see how her making that move might actually work in the best interest, but whatever. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. They've been saying that is a good option. Don't know who he is either. Let's see here. California Governor Gavin Newsom, which that'd be a joke in my opinion. Yeah, we wouldn't want to see that. especially if you're a California citizen. You definitely don't want to see that happen. I mean, that would be terrible. Let's see here. This is 2 hours ago, so they probably have updated it. Gavin Newsom, Roy Cooper, Tim Walz, Andy Bashir. Already went over that. Let's see if there's any. Warnock. Oh, no. Maryland Governor Wes Moore. They say that's a good option. But listen, I don't care who they choose. The fact is she's going to be the president, and so, or running for president. So it's not looking good for the Democrats. They've had 4 years to figure this out. They blew it off because they were so focused on Donald Trump and trying to tell everybody that he's a threat to democracy. And because that's where they spent all their energy, they neglected the most important part, which is obviously to serve the American people, but also to make sure that when 2024 rolls around, they have a great candidate. And that's not where they're at right now. They're scrambling. Kamala Harris is not their first choice. It is a choice they have no choice to make, because they are the party that runs based on the color of someone's skin. So if they were to skip over her, I don't think they would be able to handle that. It's already enough that President Biden was trying to run in the first place. And so they're stuck with her in a sense. She's not the most ideal person that they would want, but she's the vice president, so they don't have a choice. And they accepted her as vice president because, again, back in 2020, they only had one mission in the world, which was to beat President Trump. They didn't care about who it was. Let's just get it done. Well, now we are where we are, and it matters who it is. And now they cannot just say, oh, we're not going to run with her because she's black. And it is like that. It is. I mean, it would just be a huge blow to what they run on, where the color of your skin matters more than anything else. And so if they skipped over her, that would not be a good look. And so let's see if we have any more updates, and then I will jet out of here. Let me close this. All right, let's see here. All right, here we go. I just told you they were going to push this skin stuff, the color of someone's skin. Kamala Harris, endorsed by Biden, could become the first woman and second black president to be president. Right? And look at this. President Obama doesn't even endorse her. That is so funny. Read this, guys. This is so funny. This is so funny. Where did he put this on his X account? Let's go look at it. I hope he did, so I could just read it from the horse's mouth. I don't want to read it from someone else. Perfect. Here's my full statement. Let's check it out. All right. Let's get out of there. This is on Medium? Oh, wow. Okay. Let's skip through all that. 16 years ago, I've been searching for my vice president, blah, 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 since taking office. Okay, all that other stuff they've been pushing down our throats. Got that. More than that, President Biden pointing us away from the 4 years of chaos, falsehood, and division that had characterized Donald Trump's administration. No, that you guys characterized Donald Trump's administration with, by the way. Through his policies and his example, Joe has reminded us of who we are at our best. I don't think so, based on how he showed up at the debate, but hey, whatever. This outstanding track record gave President Biden every right to run for re-election and finish the job he started. Okay, whatever. I also know Joe has never backed down from a fight. Let's see here. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence. Now, listen to this carefully, right? We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead. but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. He's writing it as if Kamala Harris was not just endorsed. He's writing it from the premise that, oh, we are going to all get together and figure out who would be the best to actually run for president. So, hey, I might be getting ahead of myself. Even though he may have endorsed her, that still doesn't mean she will end up being the one running for president. So, hey, and by the way, I mean, he has his hand in this. I believe that Joe Biden's vision of generous, prosperous, blah, 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 and I expect every single one of us are prepared to carry the message of hope and progress forward into November and beyond. Okay. So, yeah, there's that. There is that. So he didn't even formally endorse her. And I don't think the rest of the Democrat Party has either. So, yeah, I think that's funny. I think that is funny. I just have to read it one more time because I just think that's so funny of him to put that. I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. Right? Create a process. There is a process already. Kamala Harris is the vice president. She now steps into the president role, and then she just selects her VP. That is the process. He's talking about something else. So there you go. I mean, chaos is coming for the Democrat Party. It's just not going to look good. It's going to be something else. So there you go. I mean, and this is the party of democracy, right? So they don't even allow it to take place. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you guys for checking this out today. You know, what's the big takeaway? What can you take away from this to help you in your own life? Number one is always do your own research. Doesn't matter what side you're on, your candidate is not always going to be 100% right. Okay? There are things that people that are conservative that I disagree with, you know, but I overall support the principles. And I do my research. I definitely do not support progressive and Democrat policies because I think that's what's wrong with the country. We have turned into a country that wants to give a trophy to the person who came in last. We want to protect people's feelings. We want to make sure that everybody's equal, but we come from a place of lack when doing that. So what happens? We victimize that person. And that's basically what's happened. The Democrat Party has made the black image based on victimization. They say we are oppressed. They say that, you know, we need the black vote. That inherently already speaks to, oh, so black people must be separate then. You never hear them come out and say, oh, we need the Asian vote. We need the white vote. We need the Jew vote. We need the Muslim vote. You never hear them say that. But you hear them say, yep, we need the black vote. And that's the problem is creating these labels it creates this division. Because from a mindset point of view, when someone keeps telling you, yeah, well, you're black, and because you're black, we need to create this DEI program, and you know, the system is racist towards you, even though there's evidence to contradict that. So we need to do whatever we can to help you. That's coming from a place of victimization, not really from a place of confidence and abundance, right? And so this is the problem, is that Democrats have allowed, and I would say all politicians, really, the government, have allowed our country to become very soft in how it's governed, and it's more corrupt and obviously more controlled by people who are donating the money. There's definitely a control factor of people who are in it for the power. And that's why these politicians, they get in there, they're broke, and then they leave being worth $500 million. It's because they're all in on it, right? I mean, think about it. It's an automatic conflict of interest working in Congress. Why? Because you can work in there for the rest of your life. So if you keep working in the same place, sooner or later you become complacent. This is why the military, on active duty, you can only be stationed at a place no more than 3 years. After 3 years, you had to move to somewhere else. So if you were stationed in Japan for 3 years, at the end of 3 years, you're on somewhere else, whether it's Germany, back to Texas, or North Carolina. It doesn't matter where it is. You need to keep moving, because if you stay in the same place, you become very complacent. Most of these people have been in Congress or in the government for too long. They're complacent. They're only in it for themselves, for money, for power, for the people that gave them money. And so does that mean we should disengage and not vote whatsoever? No. It means that more than ever in history, we should be voting for someone who does not agree with stuff like that. You know, and I'm of the opinion that President Trump is one of those people. He represents a disruption to American politics. He is not controlled. He says exactly what he thinks. Even if we don't agree with it, even if we think it's mean or rude, at least he tells us what it is. These politicians are never going to tell you what it is. They're going to tell you what they know they need to say to get you emotionally triggered so you can vote. That's what they're going to do. And that's what the Democrats are professionals at doing. They are professional race hustlers. Okay. What they do is they get black people all worked up before every single election. They get black people to believe that Republicans are racist, and they don't care about black people. And they keep telling black people, yeah, the government, we're here to help you. We're here to save you. Vote for us. And so this has been happening for so long, but the results have not been changing. So, right? I would like to think we'd exercise common sense as a community and just not. I think you only have two options if you really are critically thinking here. You're either going to vote for Donald Trump, or you're going to stay on the couch and not vote at all, or vote for RFK or some third party. But the Democrats will never change, and they'll keep lying, and they'll never change unless black people as a community say, hey, listen, stop with the lies and the bullshit that you keep telling us. And they're going to do that by not voting for them. And if they were to not vote for them, then the Democrats might think twice about how they approach black people and the black community. But I don't believe that to happen. I believe black people through everything. You have black people on TV saying they were going to vote for Joe Biden even if he was in a coffin. I mean, right? That's how deranged they are. They're not critically thinking. They're emotionally triggered. So, that's my take about everything, all of this stuff that's unfolded. I think the next 4 months are going to be crazy. You're going to see a lot of political content on the internet. You're going to see it from both sides. You're going to see people who are just repeating the same information. You're going to see people who are very extreme in their views, and it's freedom of speech. Everyone can say whatever they want. I don't really care. But I would hope that you would not just listen to everyone out there, that you would go out and do your own research and critically think for yourself and just look at the results. I mean, the results tell a story at the end of the day, right? And if you were to look at the results, especially if you're watching and you are from the black community, then you would know the Democrats is not people you should be voting for. Just isn't, because they've yet to show what they've really done, right? And I could spend a whole nother hour showing you policy by policy why that is the truth, but I'm not going to go any further. So thanks, guys, for checking out the live stream today. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already to the channel. This channel, the whole purpose of it is to truly get people to see and understand the mindset behind everything in our life, especially in this country, from politics to mindset, to social issues that's going on. And because everything in this world, it all comes down to mindset anyway, right? Mindset is everything. The mindset behind President Biden, his mindset was, I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to ride this thing out. And then the mindset with the people like Obama and Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi was like, oh, hell no, we have to get you out of there. So we're going to apply some pressure. And so they started leaking a bunch of stories. The mindset of the entire Biden administration is, we'll just let everybody come over the border. I mean, this is all on record. You can look it up yourself, where he blatantly says, come on in. Like they don't care about a process. And so then you have on the other side the mindset of President Trump, where he's just a person that's really patriotic about our country. And he's not someone who's trying to just let it all happen. He wants law and order. And they don't like that. And he's also a person who isn't going to be, he's not going to pander to people's feelings. He's going to say what it is. And, some people think it's mean. And I find it funny. Anything that Donald Trump has said is nothing compared to the way Americans speak in the locker room anyway. Like, if you were to really be honest with yourself and think about some conversations you've had with friends in your backyard, at a party, especially for the men, right, in the locker room, I mean, it's nothing compared to that, right? So everyone wants to act like they've never had a dirty mouth, or they've never made a statement against someone. I mean, I just find it's the hypocrisy of America. Everybody wants to be caught up in their feelings and not necessarily what's going to get results. So thank you guys for checking out today. We will see you in more videos, and take care. All right, guys.